Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today I'm going to do a list video of games that I played that I thought would make really great co-op games or games you could play with your friends. I don't know, you jump in, party up some way, somehow. You're going to be with them. You're going to do stuff and things, but in an explorable space that happens to probably be large and open, possibly vast. Depends. But a bunch of games, a bunch of different random radical genres. Watch to the end. Hopefully you find something new, or you have a new appreciation for a game that maybe you're like, oh yeah, no, I could actually play with that for some friends and explore an open world. It's free. Yeah, it's the title, guys. You know what? Okay, we don't need an intro. Let's get into it. Yeah, we're running through this DC Universe Online. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. DC Universe is a game that, for some reason, like once a year or so, I'll kind of just re-log in. I'll make a new character. I almost always just go speed, and I kind of just jump around. There's something really cool. Hey, have you ever played like Spider-Man 2 or some of the superhero games where you get to like just run around? And it's just like really fun. You know, you're swinging around, you're flying around, you're just jumping around. It's just cool. Okay, so in terms of like a game that you can just play on PS4, you can play on consoles, just like a kind of a lower spec, just free to play MMO that's just goofy and wacky, fun for the whole family. DC Universe Online. It'll actually surprise you. Now, I think some people feel a little hurt because it's not exactly like Heroes and Villains or whatever, City of Heroes, but for what it is, I think it's something special, and it is actually action-packed, and I don't know, it's cute. I know it can be childish. It's DC Universe Online, but there's actually something kind of magical here. I don't know. I keep coming back to it. I keep trying it out, and I think you guys should bring some friends when you try it out yourselves. Number 9, I got Dead Frontier 2. Now, I really fought with myself here. Should I put Dead Frontier 1 or 2? So either way, you know what? Both of them. So Dead Frontier 1 is actually a browser-based MMO thing. It's top-down. It's definitely more kind of horror in a lot of ways compared to... is there any horror MMOs? There basically isn't. This is like one of the few. Anyways, so that's more like open world, but there's like, loading screens, and it's a browser game, whatever. But Dead Frontier 2 is over the shoulder. Now, the first levels are very instance. There are a lot of loading screens, but it does kind of open up a little later on that I've been told. So, and it is kind of cooperative, and it still has that explorative aspect. And even though there are technically loading screens, you actually still are like in a world, and there is some persistence, and it's kind of like this looter shooter thing. So kind of like Resident Evil inspired. And if you like that, if you guys played like maybe one of the co-op Resident Evils like 5, maybe Dead Frontier will actually feel right at home, and it looks pretty good for a free-to-play game. That it does have limitations, like it's not gonna be the giantest, biggest open world or whatever, but hey, you have your pick. Dead Frontier 1, if you just want a quick browser-based zombie, MMO thing, or Dead Frontier 2 as well for like a Resident Evil sort of experience. Okay, next, dudes, is it's a Roblox game. It is actually specifically a Roblox game. It's called Mad City. So I had fun. I can't lie, I had fun. It kind of reminds me of like Grand Theft Auto if it was cops and robbers and also superheroes and supervillains. So they do kind of go a little bit above and beyond there, which is pretty cool. Kind of Saints Row inspired maybe, but it's Roblox, so I get it. It's cheesy, but like the heists and the parkour and the stuff and things, it was legit. Like it was actually really cool. It was... this is actually one of the most impactful gaming moments I've had last year. So definitely give it a shot. But there's actually a lot of Roblox open world games that are genuinely good. Please let me know in the comments below which ones are genuinely good. But Roblox is free. Mad City was free. And there's actually a comparable game that's like mixed reviews right now. It's called APB Reloaded. If you want to give that a shot, you might be able to jump on with some friends, but that's PvP heavy and it's not that populated. So Mad City is definitely getting mad props here at number 8. Next up, not all the games are technically co-op. Like Mad City wasn't exactly co-op. It's a little PvP. Planetside 2 it's PvP. But the true like joy of Planetside is jumping on with a group of your friends, especially if you get a squad of like 4. And then you join in like to these giant platoons and you kind of zerg up and you guys go from like battle to battle. You'll find that you can actually have a pretty big impact. And even if you guys just suck and you're just goofing around, it could be so fun. I had so much fun with my friends. Like we would just get on like, ATVs, we'd get on the 4-wheelers and run up and just try to, use our drifter jetpacks with C4 to blow up tanks and shit like that. We would get into the giant airships and go on air gunner runs and bombing runs basically. Or we just all hide with our knives out and, go berserk. And it's crazy. Planetside 2 is a fun game. And it's actually a cool game, I think, to make friends, too. But it's also, for me, it's kind of like my chill late night game to actually kind of just zone out and zen. I know it's weird because it's such a ridiculous, crazy MMO, but in terms of like a big open space where you could just shoot a ton of people and just do a ton of ridiculous shit, it's very sandbox. This is definitely my MMO of choice for that, if you guys like PvP, that is. The stakes are lower than Battle Royales, and yet it's debatably more action-packed, so yeah, give it a shot, please. In terms of MMOs, this one is a little underloved, in my opinion. And next up, we do have another MMO, and that is going to be Trove. Trove is going to be another game that's kind of fun for the whole family. It's action-based, it's action-packed, it's cute, it's adorable. And there's always something to kind of like do. You know, it's a looter game that's got a million loots, and lots of different really fun classes. I don't know, there's like some candy barbarian, there's like a neon ninja. It's weird, but it's a game it's like, it's a parkour game, like it's all about jumping around, and it's kind of, you know, it's got this procedural generation gimmick where you just kind of jump in with a friend or two and you just run dungeons. And this is a game that I actually played a lot with the boys. You know, the same people that I would play Planetside 2 with would be like, okay, we did our PvP fix. Let's go into Trove. You know, let's go break some blocks. And I think it's really cute nowadays. You know, you have your custom islands and mini games and things like that, and there's so many more zones to do, and there's even maybe a respectable end game kind of developing possibly. But Trove is a game that, because of its publisher and some changes that the game has made, you know, it kind of doesn't get the attention that it kind of maybe does deserve. It's kind of hard saying that. But, you know, in terms of like a game that's fun, again, for like everyone, for the family, and you can always come back to, yeah, you know, it actually is kind of a champion of like this weird, lighthearted, run and gun looter shooter MMO thing. That, you know, it's just a weird, unique game. Like, I mean, really, that's what it is. It's a champion of itself. No other game is like it. So it's got to make the list of just a fun, you know, voxel-filled open world game that has procedural generation. You know, you gotta actually explore it and work together. Like, oh man, hey, yo, there's this rare dungeon spawn. Let's go get it, boys. You know, so it's pretty cool. I think in terms for this list, online open world, free-to-play games, play with friends, yeah, absolutely. Just keep in mind, it's kind of weird for an MMORPG because you get all of your abilities like in 2 seconds, and the game can be repetitious. And also, some of those microtransactions changes that the company has made make it, I think, difficult or impossible to actually unlock new classes without spending money. So you know, how free to play is it? But in my experience, I had a ton of fun playing with friends in this game. It's gonna make the list, even though it's not that terribly difficult. It's just a kind of a nice vehicle to use to socialize with your friends. Next one's a lot more hardcore. Yeah, a lot more. Albeit Online. Albeit Online, you can actually play on tablets and stuff. I don't think it's officially on Google Play yet, but you can. Definitely a cool laptop game. But Albeit Online is basically, it's like Ultima mixed with League of Legends, or probably more like RuneScape mixed with League of Legends. It doesn't have quests or anything like that, but it's definitely a grindathon. But I appreciate it for dueling. I think that's really cool. I like the dungeons and stuff like that. There's like a Farmville mechanic. But if you can jump in and kind of do a little bit of the guild stuff with some friends, if you and some friends want to make a guild or join a guild, then Albeit Online is probably the game that I would actually champion for that kind of vibe. There's lots of games you can play, especially free-to-play MMO, if you want to have a guild. But in terms of like a sandboxy, Ultima-inspired experience that you can play from, you can play solo, or you can play, you know, kind of have your friends jump in, jump out. You can help them with their farms and stuff like that. You can help them out. You can duo gank, you can solo gank. You can play from solo to larger groups, but you do want to join a guild. So even if you play asynchronously, which is what a lot of people do in games like, I don't know, Animal Crossing, possibly, or a lot of MMOs, Albeit Online is probably the best too. So even if you're not playing directly with other players, which you can, of course, it's actually really fun to do that, but if you want to play asynchronously and just have a you know, a large group of friends that come in, come out, you know, you all are helping build the guild town, a guild city or whatever, and doing stuff and things like that, then yeah, it's really cool. I think I really appreciate it. Again, you gotta like sandbox stuff, and it does actually have an even distribution of PvE and PvP, but it is more known as like a hardcore, you know, like if you die, you lose all your shit kind of game. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I think obviously, I mean, this game is literally the one that inspired the list. It's gonna be pretty high up there, at least past halfway. Genshin Impact. Now, it's not higher because I actually kind of have this thing where I don't like promoting gambling games. I don't like promoting gacha games, and Genshin Impact is a gacha game, but I am actually going to talk about it because at least at the moment the gacha was fair. So far you could play what was the whole game, you know, and generally like people didn't have too much like uproarious feelings about it, so it kind of worked out. You know, Genshin Impact is a gorgeous game, even though it is very inspired. by other games that I played and loved more so, but it's actually really cool in terms of exploration. I had some amazingly impactful exploration stuffs happen to me when I was streaming. I literally cried while doing one of the puzzles because the music was so, oh my god, the music is so good, and just exploring and doing the jumping puzzle was so fun. That is going to be the highest peak jumping puzzle, by the way. So good. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know. But Genshin Impact's really cool, even if you just play it for a little bit. Play it for a little bit, get to level 16, do some co-op, you know, do some of the challenges, the dungeons, just explore around with some friends. It can be a good time. I don't think it's that long-lived, and if I actually really think about it, then probably the gambling aspect gets a little bad. But, you know, in terms of trying it out, playing with someone, and having a one-and-done experience, especially over a weekend, it's a really cool co-op experience with friends. It just has to make the list. And I think a lot of people who are looking for lists like this want to play a game like Unturned. Unturned, similar to many on the list here, is a game that, again, is fun for the whole family. Like, it's meant to be played by lots of different people, of all walks of life, whenever, wherever. So Unturned, even though it looks the way it looks, actually kind of isn't low spec anymore. It does take a little bit of a beefier PC, maybe a little bit. But it's basically like, it's way more popular than DayZ, but it was a DayZ clone. And when this game came out, it kind of came out of nowhere, but like there were so many of these DayZ clones, and some of them wanted to be free to play or whatever. And Unturned was like, okay, no, we're gonna come out, we're gonna have features that you wish you could have. Yeah, it looks childish, but like it's gonna run, and everyone's gonna play it. It's gonna be great. And it, you know, you could pay $5, I think, to unlock customization or whatever. But like Unturned is the game that everyone plays, basically. It's like, why would you, you know, play DayZ? Why would you play this or that? Let's just go play Unturned. It's totally fine. And you remember like the War Z, and I think they switched it in like Infection Survival Stories or whatever. There's so many of these other kind of like really bad mixed review games or negatively reviewed games, and Unturned has just always been very positively reviewed and beloved. There's even an Unturned 2 actually coming out with a much better engine and more deeper mechanics to really properly actually compete with DayZ, so that's pretty sick. But if you would just, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what this game is, right? Zombies, open world survival, play with your friends. Yeah, it's a good time. And the zombies will actually kill you. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, my bias is really, really screaming here with this one, but RuneScape. I think RuneScape is a really fun game to play with friends. Just because it's kind of cool to laugh at the jokes together if you do, you know, quests synchronously. And sometimes it actually helps to have a friend directly playing with you, palling around with you, because you do need to gather a lot of stuff. And sometimes the puzzles really help if you have someone to bounce ideas off of. The puzzles in RuneScape are genuinely like puzzling. You actually have to sometimes do alchemy, or there's like actual kind of like Zelda-like puzzles that you have to really figure out. And having someone cooperatively there to help you out and piece it together is really fun. And sometimes there's quests that are literally co-op, like you need someone else to actually work together. I'm talking specifically about the shield quest there. But anyways, this is a free-to-play list. I couldn't put it as number 1 because there is a limit to the free-to-play world, kind of. However, you can actually play with your friend and earn enough money to earn the subscription or premium status. So that is totally possible and viable. There's lots of videos of how to do that actually as a free-to-play player. But that is a thing. But anyways, RuneScape also can, it's weird, but RuneScape can be totally played solo. And actually, that's how I play it a lot now. I used to play it a lot with friends, but yeah, you can play it solo, and I kind of almost play it like it's a webcomic of sorts, you know? It's actually a really funny game to play with questing, but playing it, not exactly a guild-based game, but just with some friends, it can be a really fun kind of social experience there. So I'm just gonna say, for people who don't believe the charm of RuneScape, give it a shot. Give it one day. Play it for one day seriously. Really, you gotta read the quest text and really try these quests. They are, in my opinion, the best objectively out of all of MMOs. So if you can play these with some friends and share that experience, it's so good. And now my number 1 is Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2, that's, I don't know, it's like my favorite MMO pretty much. I played it a lot with a friend, a couple of friends actually, and it's especially when it went free to play. That's where most of my gameplay is, by the way. Even though I do have all the expansions, I mostly just jump in for the seasonal events. You jump in and you literally do like the Halloween jumping puzzle up the clock tower, or the winter, you know, days festival, or, you know, you just jump in and do some PvP if you want to. It's a little wet noodly, but you can do that if you like. But dude, running these dungeons and doing like basically the vanilla content, which was the whole game at one point, is such a great experience. It's kind of Soulsian if you do the dungeons with a group of people, all lower levels, and you're running it at level parity. It is so great when you're not just getting run through the game. And then seeing the open world giant dragon fights and stuff like that, and just kind of dynamically running into these events, and seeing these puzzles and hidden secrets that you can go and explore. This is the most explorable MMO in my opinion on the planet. So running it and like, falling into a mountain and you find like this crazy epic jumping puzzle, and then you have to work together to actually accomplish it. It is so great. I don't know. I really love playing this game co-op. As when you go in blind and you go in as a noob and you really give it a shot, this game sings so beautifully. I think especially as a co-op game. Funny enough though, actually not that great of a guild game, being called Guild Wars, but as a co-op game, absolutely. Open world, discoverability, coming in, playing again, free to play with the seasonal events and all that. There's always a reason to come back. Guild Wars 2, yeah, it's my number one. And that's it, guys. That's my online open world free to play games to play with friends. If you guys want more lists that are kind of hyper specific like this, that dictate like a very specific genre, subgenres, and a way of playing, then yeah, I'll keep it going. Maybe I'll do one that's just free open world games. Because there's actually a few of those, or free-to-play survival games, or free-to-play hardcore, die, you lose everything kind of game. I don't know. I can go a little bit more in depth because I've played so many games, and maybe with this next year, we're going to refine everything, be more professional, script some stuff and things. If you want more of that, well, you got to show the love. You got to appreciate it with that like button, that subscribe button, and all, YouTube things, right? But that's pretty much it. The outro is out. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.